Hi, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Podcast, where I, Adam Upper, talk to my buddy Braydon Ketty about Batman, the animated series. And this week we are talking about the Cape and Cowl Conspiracy. I didn't edit that on my intro, and I almost said the wrong. I said that last week's episode again. Almost pulled a Richard. How are you doing today, Braydon?
We're going to play a little game this episode. It's called Why is this guy not Riddler?
Or is why is Batman so dumb in this episode? Or I guess we'll find out because initially that's what I was thinking, like for the first bit. But
That's the
yes,
thing.
as
He gets dumber when the plot twist is revealed.
yes, but yes, as I said, this week's episode is the Cape and Cowl Conspiracy, which is like the 31st episode produced, and it was the making it the no, not making it. It was also the 25th episode to air, which means it aired Wednesday, October 14th. So we're like just about halfway to Halloween in October that year. Do you remember what you were for Halloween that year? If you did, do you still did you do Halloween when you were however you're
I
old?
want to say the first Halloween costume I ever did, I was a purple crayon.
Nice.
I'm not even kidding. I had this big purple dunce cap looking thing and
It's
like
legit.
just paper card wrapped around me.
It's legit. Yeah, I think at this point, I think I was probably done with going out at least. I think so. I don't think I was doing anything this year, if memory serves. But yes, this episode was written by Elliot S. Megan and directed by Frank Power. Yeah, so yeah, that's definitely a returning name in the in the director's chair. So yeah, so as I said, yeah, my first note is a Riddler episode because it starts off with this guy showing up to like I think it's like a mini putt looking place I think or something like that, and he has like this like magazine cutout like almost like serial killer thing note with like yeah, that's all written riddles and stuff. And I don't remember this episode
I
from
do.
this original aired. So I didn't or at least if I had seen it I didn't it didn't stick. So I was like, is this a fucking Riddler episode? This is like a weird way. Then I saw a dude. Then I couldn't remember what he looked like outside his Riddler suit, or if you ever actually saw him outside of that. So I was like, is that the Riddler? Like it took me longer than it should have to realize that, but he wasn't the Riddler.
Yeah, I remember watching this episode when I was a kid, and it's better than I remember, but not by much. It's not like one of the worst episodes we've ever talked about so far, but it definitely has a lot of failed potential to it. Because one thing that we'll get to, and one of the reasons why it takes us so long in this podcast to get to the Riddler is because even the production team and the writers didn't know how to do Riddler justice, which is fair. Except this episode is kind of like handed right to you in terms of like a basic kind of Riddler origin story. If this isn't just like him before he becomes Riddler, then it's just the first Riddler episode.
Yeah, showed it be him becoming Riddler, yeah,
Ah,
at least. Yeah, but but yeah, so he goes, he's talking to this one dude at and he's like, "What this is like to steal the bearer bonds, right? I think." What?
okay. What the hell are bearer bonds? I didn't know when I was a kid watching this. I don't know what they are now.
Yeah, no, I was one of those things I was hoping I would have like had a better understanding, but I think they're like, they're doing. I'm going to say like a controversial statement here, but I think they're the OG Bitcoins, like pay like,
Probably the
but it's like
boomer bitcoins.
yeah the paper version of Bitcoins, really. I think yeah, but they just have like a set value and just like instead of just being money, it's a different kind of paper and stuff, really.
Yeah,
Isn't that the what Hans Gruber is stealing in Die Hard too? His bearer bonds, I think, too.
that
That's
sounds
like
right enough.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like what 20 million in bearer bonds
yeah.
untraceable or whatever. Like it's the it's the basic end goal for Mr. Gruber and not falling off a building, I guess.
But then why just not do gold bars like, and like a lot of other things? Like kids know what gold bars are. So
What
I
do you
looked it
mean?
up.
What do you mean? Die Hard 3?
Ah, true. Yeah.
Well,
That is
I
Van
like
Gruber.
and I like the whole behind the scenes thing with that one is that dude just whoever wrote and directed that movie just came up with the idea with just like publicly available information and and I think it was like the FBI and the Secret Service went to him. He was like, "Dude, like, what the fuck are you doing?" Like, because apparently that could have happened. And they had to fucking change stuff because they like one of the things that they could have been like a feasible thing is like it was like fairly close to like being like how to fucking steal the gold out of the depository in New York.
How
And they had
terrifying is it that a screenwriter was smarter than US intelligence and security? God damn it.
right. So so I know what you were saying here about to say.
Oh, I was gonna say I Googled bearer bonds just for my own curiosity because they
Okay.
mention it so much and it's so pivotal to this episode. A bearer bond or bearer note is a bond or debt security issued by government. You've lost me already. Like, like
So it's like an IOU.
pretty
It's
much, yeah.
oh
It's the
no
white
no
collar version of an IOU.
it's so it's even later. Oh, so it's not even as cool as being a Bitcoin then, or not that that's really cool, but it's even a lamer
Yeah,
version of a fucking Bitcoin.
yeah.
So I guess I was
You
way
can't
off.
stonk a bearer bond.
Oh, it stonks.
Come on, apes,
Yeah.
let's do this thing.
So yeah, so like it's like so this guy and whoever he brings to the golf course and the mini putt course is like there's just telling him to like he wants bear bonds or something like that. I think is basically the idea. I think right.
Yeah, he's wanting him to hand over these bearer bonds, and he's leads him into this quicksand
Oh yeah, that's
trap.
right. That's right. That's right. Oh yeah, because he's
Yeah.
a delivery later. Yeah, yeah. And he walks him into the middle of the quicksand, which when did quicksand stop being like an issue in movies?
The last time I remember seeing quicksand was the fourth Indiana Jones movie.
The fourth one?
Yeah, yeah. Remember when he's sinking with Shia LaBeouf and Marion, and he says, "Throw me that rope," and it's not a
The
rope; it's a
fourth
snake.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Triggered a
oh,
repressed memory, didn't I?
you mean the one that doesn't exist? Oh, fuck, I think I only saw the movie fucking once. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, God damn it. Why'd you have to
So
do
anyway, back to Batman.
that? Off to the
You're
better
welcome.
memories. It, it is, you hear me in real time get disappointed, people.
Yeah. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yeah,
Oh
so he
boy.
gets so yeah, sinks so yeah, so somehow it sinks him just up to like the top of like the basically to like the top of his head, like in the quicksand, and lowers this little thing down and being like, yeah, when he delivered to the bearer bonds, come bring them to me instead, sort of thing, whatever. And then he gets them out, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
And I think
so
that
that's good.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's where we cut to Commissioner Gordon and Batman talking about it. So I guess that did happen, and the bearer bonds had disappeared or whatever the fuck happened, and then
Yeah.
then Batman figures out it's this Wormwood guy or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah,
Who was
so
like who was the not who were called like not Riddler.
yeah, that's literally what I have in my notes is not Riddler. Like it's funny. If you Google, I did this out of curiosity. I Googled Josiah Wormwood because that's his full name. And guess what one of the first things that pops up is? Is
Not Riddler.
Josiah Wormwood Riddler? I'm not even kidding you. Try it yourself.
And no, I'll take your word on that one. Yeah, so
Yeah. Listeners, feel free. And you know what's funny? This episode was both produced and broadcasted before we get our first Riddler episode. So it's not they didn't have the opportunity to bring him in at like a reasonable time. But yeah, this guy, Josiah, I didn't think it was possible, but the writers managed to make a villain blander than Sewer King. This guy is just this dude in a leather jacket. He looks kind of like Neil Patrick Harris, but has the voice of Toyman. And by the way, that's not a joke. This is the OG voice of Toyman, but Cord.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. So yeah, I recently got my friend to watch Starship Troopers, and yeah, and he liked it. Yeah, so I fucking love that movie so much.
Yep. It's
He goes,
afraid. No shit's afraid.
and two, it was like definitely it was one of the $5 movies I saw at Imagine Cinemas like at some point last year too. So yeah,
Oh man, that movie gets better and better.
fucking yeah.
Oh, we these. Yeah, so Gordon's talking to Batman about the bearer bonds, and he figures out it's this Wormwood guy. So he starts It's funny. He starts rummaging through Gordon's files. Like I know Gordon's cool with it, but like if this was any other person, it'd be like, oh no, by all means, go through my personal belongings. He's looking through like his Wormwood's affiliates and finds this guy, Baron Wakla. How do you pronounce that name? It's like Yakla or Wakla Yosek, and a lot of W's and J's there.
So
And
Wakla was
yeah, he's one of his contacts. So he goes to meet him at the Foreign Aid Society. So this guy, the Baron, he looks like Azamat from Borat, like the fat guy who he wrestled with nakedly in the hotel. But he's voiced by John Rhys Davies, who is definitely going to earn a point in the end of this episode because this is the actual member of this episode I've met. John Rhys Davies, I
and,
met at Comic Con.
yeah, yeah, and people might know him from his famous role from Sliders. No, or more so from he's or I guess more known more so now for the as Gimli in the Lord of the Rings, which I always find
Ride
is
me.
funny. Which I always find is funny because he's like 6'2" in real life, so he's like the tallest out of everybody. He's like playing like the shortest character.
Oh man, he's honestly one of the nicest people I've ever met at a con. I've met a number of guests, but John Rhys Davies is there at the top, man. He's got this like friendly grandpa energy to him. Like he loves his fans. He's so funny. Like, oh man, I could have talked to him all day, but then security would have dragged me away. So yeah, so Batman finds the Baron and just publicly abducts him. He swings in like Tarzan and grabs him in the middle of this like presentation. And what's funny is the audience is laughing as it's happening. Did you notice that?
Yeah, they were acting like it was like it was like a show part of the show or something like that and stuff. But or it's like at this point they know Batman's still off. They're like, ha, 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 you're fucked, buddies. But yeah, but that was one of my notes is like it said like that weird that Batman did something so public, like because you think
I
he'd just
know.
wait till they went to go to the bathroom or something like that and just be like yoink and like take him off. But he's like, nope. He says right in the middle of the fucking restaurant. He's just like, hey, come with me now.
Like somebody's calling the police, and if you're the cop on the other line, and like, what do you do? Like, you so commissioner, like, what's the procedure here? Like, it's Batman, but it's a kidnapping. So
Yeah, like yeah, he sees Commissioner Gordon later. He's like, come on, dude, like at least pretend like you're not doing this shit, like dead doing the back alleys like you're supposed to. Like plausible deniability. You can't do that with a restaurant full of people. Like, come on.
I didn't say I wouldn't kidnap him.
But it's where you did it though is the issue. Come
Yeah.
on.
You know
On
what the
how you
problem
did
with
it.
our relationship is? Communication. Too much communication. So yeah, he's interrogating the Baron and trying to find out what he knows on Wormwood. hangs him by his suspenders off a gargoyle. And the Baron like sings like a canary, man. Like he gives him everything, and Batman says, you should probably leave town because it's gonna get very complicated from here on out.
But on that
So
note, no, I on that note, I want to know who fucking the Baron's tailor is because they either made the strongest suspenders or the strongest like connectors to the pants like ever. Because like he's like Baron's not a small guy. He's been hanging for a couple minutes. And he's flailing around like like normal pants and suspenders should have snapped like right away.
yeah, maybe his budget for like his entire wardrobe went into the suspenders because he's like, one day someone's gonna hang me by it. How do you know this? A smart man.
Or there was those special suspenders that Terry was had in his desk that one episode in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He was
Ah, yeah.
saving for it, and that's why because they're the super strong ones. So you took them by so you took them.
They're made of the same material as Rupert Thorne's apron.
Yeah,
You know,
it's like the
it's kind of impressive how Batman just seems to know the durability of textiles. Like he did that with Rupert Thorne. He's done this with the Baron. Like, what happens the day he's wrong? He's like, oh, that was polyester. Damn.
are like secretly like Wayne Enterprises owns all the clothing manufacturers. He's like, you gotta
Yeah,
make
that's
this
where
shit
he got
that's
all his
it.
money.
He might gotta make that stuff the same stuff you make out of my bathsuit on, so I can fucking terrorize the general populace without
I'm
risk
sorry,
of
Mr. Wayne, did
death.
you say your bat suit?
Um, the bat suit,
The
the
proverbial bat suit. The
the
communal bat suit.
the bat suit I don't wear on a nightly basis.
You're fired.
That's it. And don't look at the prototype Batmobile on the way out either. That's not for your eyes either.
So
Or the bat jet
yeah,
or the bat cycle or those three Robins.
sign this NDA. So yeah, it cuts to the Baron meeting with Wormwood, and he calls him into his office. So that's when
So you
he
figure
gives him
so you figure this is like that. So it's like, you figure this is like him like or should I say it now? Or
don't say it now.
all right.
Don't say it now. Because trust me, it's just gonna get funnier. I should have asked you, like, yeah, do you reveal the twist? No, no, no. Let's save it. Yeah, so he calls in Wormwood to give him a proposal. He wants Batman's cape and cowl, and he's willing to pay handsomely for it. So Wormwood's like, "What do you want the cape and cowl for?" And he's like, "Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to, or whatever." It's just like, buddy, you've worked with a lot of rich people. Like, hey, if Rivers taught you and I anything, is that rich people are into some weird shit. It's just don't ask questions.
Or I was just thinking too, this could be like a lead up to like onomatopoeia in the Green Arrow and Batman runs that the character that Kevin Smith created because
Oh
he's
yeah.
like a serial killer that's like collects like and except for the killing part, he goes and kills and like steals like their like something whatever part of their costume whatever and keeps it like in his basement and stuff. Yeah, so it just made me think of that. Yes, because he wanted the Cape and Cowl just so he can have it like as like a memento in the basement and like collecting his stuff. And he probably has like a couple other things down there or something, maybe.
Well, that's the thing is like lots of rich people like trophies. Like
Yeah.
that's who why do you care? Like it doesn't really take that much. I know what they're leading to in terms of a story and the execution of the narrative, but like for him to keep on going like, but why do you want them? It's like, do you want the money or the job or not? Like so one also note I want to make mention here that because the entire episode, like the Cape and the Cowl conspiracy, is about this guy Wormwood trying to get Batman's Cape and Cowl. So Frank Power tried to stop this episode from happening. And I'm going to quote what he said here. They didn't let me stop it. We had a lot of storyboards who wanted to rebel on this one. The best metaphor is kicking a dead horse. It arrived dead, and no matter how hard you kick it, it ain't going to give you a ride. Which I think is the thing. I think that I mean, I'm making the joke here that like we could have had Riddler in this episode. I think there is some interesting traps here. It keeps you enough to keep you engaged with what Batman's going through and like the life and death situations. The problem is that it just keeps on going around in circles. Like it's just Batman hopping from trap to trap with little else to kind of thing. And that's without spoiling the twist. Because when we get to post twist, this episode looks even weirder and kind of stupid.
I was just imagining like this episode is like that guy as Gimli instead of instead of like what he looks like.
I was making Sala and Gimli jokes the entire time. Yes, but very dangerous. You go first.
Bad dates.
So it cuts then to the bat signal in the sky. So this is our, in terms of production at least, our first appearance of the bat signal.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And it was weird that like it was Commissioner Gordon's idea for it, which I guess does that is that happen in the Chris Nolan movies too? That it's Gordon's idea as well for the bat signal.
It's Gordon's idea, but in the Chris Nolan movies, the first thing that happens is he ties Falcone to a floodlight,
Oh, that's right.
and it
That's right. Right.
kind of makes
Yeah.
like a bat symbol
Right.
because
Right.
that's why he
Right.
makes a joke later. I couldn't find any mob bosses. So Gordon's given him idea about what's going on because he received a letter addressed to Batman, and it has, get this, a riddle where iron horses go to trot and children toot their horns a lot. So he concludes that that's a train station thing. I think it's like a kids like
Toot toot.
amusement park train track.
Uh, yeah, yeah. Train Town, which sounds like a bad porn title or series.
It really does.
Train Town 6 with Angela
What's
White.
that? What's that saying joke? Rule 34.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes over there and he finds out that it's a trap. No shit. And Wormwood has trapped him inside of the train car and has a young woman. Literally, it's like right out of like like 1930s like silent film of a woman tied to a railroad track as this thing's coming towards her. And he says, "So you have a choice. You can either let this woman be hit by the train, or you can surrender your cape and cowl." And of course, he's Batman, so he manages to escape. And he finds out
Batman.
it's a hologram. Like, where'd this guy get hologram?
It's a doctor from Voyager?
You know who would
But
probably use holograms?
sorry, so you cut out there for a sec. Who?
Riddler.
Oh, actually, yeah. Actually, I don't think they would have enough money for holograms. So he'd be smart enough, but
He
not
did
to
it
have
in
the
the
money. But
Batman Forever. Well, granted, he also like managed to like make holographic TV, so he was making the holograms to make more holograms. He was the guy from the Grey Ghost episode, the toy guy. I use my toys to explode and hold hostage so I can buy more toys. Like you're kind of the snake eating its tail here, pal. So that's when Wormwood calls up the Baron and says, "Don't worry, I've got another trap." All right. Wormwood grabbed an entire billboard, dude, and painted a message on it. And what's funny is he signed his name. Like, so when this guy goes inevitably to court because it's a Batman episode, of course, Batman's going to win in the end. I don't think I need to say spoiler alert to that. Like,
Very.
it's going to be an open and shut case. Like, the prosecution's going to be like, Your Honor, the defendant literally signed his confession. His name is right there. Like, can we just go straight to sentencing?
Exhibit A, the billboard on First and Young,
Yeah.
still there because you know not enough people are going to be advertising in Gotham. So if you have a billboard and like stop paying for it, it's probably going to stay up there until somebody else pays for it. I think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I didn't even think of that. The advertising and marketing in Gotham. Like you have to go with a demographic, realizing the chances are that like either the people walking by and seeing this stuff are either going to become victims of a supervillain or a supervillain themselves.
Mm.
So the message basically indicates for him to go to uh, Delarue's Wax Museum, where of course is another trap. This is the distinct part of the episode that I remember because he has this giant, like I think he said like 20,000 watt bulb that he's got like a heat lamp, and he says like this is going to not just melt the wax, it's going to melt you. So all these wax sculptures are like, slowly melting around him as Batman's trying to escape. And he says like, I'm pretty much gonna boil you alive until you like surrender the cape and cowl. And Batman does a couple of different maneuver. This is actually the trap that I remember specifically because it actually works to the point where he realizes like, all right, you win, because he takes off his mask and there's another mask underneath the mask. Batman looks like Leonardo the Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, I just it made me remind me of that meme. It was like or GIF or whatever. It's from like when Sting was wrestling or whatever. He had like a mask of his like makeup on. He takes it
Oh,
off and
yeah.
he had like the exact same makeup on.
I saw a Spider-Man comic panel once where like I guess Spider-Man lost his mask. And so Peter Parker proceeded to paint over his face with like red and like white paint. And like even the supervillains are like, "Are you for real, bro?" Like there's a comic issue of like where he has a paper bag over his head. And honestly, that would have been more dignified. But here's the thing. I don't know if you kind of caught this vibe. I think that Wormwood's a little turned on by the idea of like catching Batman because there's scenes of him like where he's like, "Your cape and cowl, please." Like he like
Oh, and
leans in close to the mic like I am now.
no, he's just no. I think he was just wanting to do some like sexy cosplay with it later on with his lady friend or partner or whatever. So he's just thinking of what he's going to be doing in that Cape and Cowl later on. I think
Well, even when
because I think
like
like because
Batman gets caught, like he gives up the mask. Like there's that scene of him like right before the commercial cut of Wormwood like leaning over the monitor, and like you guys can't see me right now, but like he's kind of like this, like with his like shoulders high up and like leaning over with this like evil smile, and you can't see where his hands are, but he's like heaving and I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, can we, no, stop. Gonna be sniffing that cowl before he goes it gives us the Baron. So he ironically enough doesn't care who Batman is. He's just like, I want a cape and cowl. So I'm gonna just take that and like that's good enough for me. And Batman tries to catch him, but he does a little kind of smoke and mirrors routine where he thinks he found him, but he didn't. So Wormwood goes to the Baron and delivers the cape and cowl. He's like, will you please just tell me why you wanted the Cape and Cowl in the first place? He's like, well, why don't you tell me about those bearer bonds, how you got those, and where they're hanging right now. All right. So I remember this scene specifically because this is what I refer to as the architect scene from the Matrix Batman style. Because I have no idea what this guy said, and yet he's saying it so sophisticatedly. I like this was a kind of out of touch moment for the writers where I think they forget this is a cartoon. Kids are not like jiving with what's going on here because I'm going to read it verbatim. Very well. An agent from the Curian Emirates will get the bonds from a locker at Pan Europa Airways tomorrow when I meet him there and give him this key. You know the two words I understood from that? Airways and key. Like, what is he talking about? Like, did they forget what their audience demographic was?
It's the old airport locker trick or handoff. Yeah.
Or did this turn into a political thriller? Like, so Wormwood's like, all
Or I
right,
said no.
so
It's just CSI Gotham.
yeah, even that would be cool. You'd be hunting Joker bombs and like explode penguins. Like, thinking about friggin' bearer bombs.
Or we have what's his face, David Caruso guy going up to that, and he's like, "Looks like we're going to have a, or I guess we're going to have to take his glass off, laugh all night." Yeah, I guess.
Looks like we're in for some funny business.
Yeah. Doo doo.
So Wormwood's like, all right, will you finally tell me what you want the cape and cowl for? And all right, so we said there was a twist. The Baron turns around and says, I intend to wear them. And it's Batman all
To
along.
wear them. Yes.
Yeah. Which Batman's been already established as a master of disguise. So, like, this isn't totally out of left field. And don't get me wrong, it's a cool twist until you really think about it. Because he says, I've been the Baron ever since you walked into this office the first day, Wormwood. So that means he had this guy right in his office. He could have whipped the mask off and said, I'm Batman, and now I'm going to interrogate you. But he proceeded to screw with this guy for like a week.
I was thinking, yeah, like everyone else must be like up in Gotham and just waiting for their to escape or before their trial. So he's like, I have nothing else to do, so I'll just pretend to be Gimli for a week. I don't care. I have
I
nothing
mean,
else
that's
going
a
on right
best
now.
case scenario. Worst case is that like Mr. Freeze is like freezing people solid, and like Killer Croc is like eating some poor man's face, and Batman can't help out because he's screwing with what? It's like, so you were there the whole time? Yeah. Why didn't you just get at him? Like he was literally right there, unarmed. Don't question my methods. Oh, man. Also, a hypothetical scenario. What would happen if Wormwood just shot Batman in the head and turned up to an empty office to deliver the cape and cowl? The guy said he wanted the cape and the cowl. He didn't say he wanted Batman alive.
And he's like, oh,
Like
there's a
it's the
bullet hole. I
easiest
didn't
way
want
to
a
get
bullet
them.
hole in it. True.
No, he's just standing there, just like, where is this guy? Again, it's a good twist. It's when you think about the twist that's like a minute here. So Wormwood and Batman start having this little fight where Batman's trying to get the key from him. They're like, and I think it's like the Baron's like gym and like using weights to like batter around with them. And Batman manages to dodge him as he's like smashing through the window. Dude, Wormwood has one of the funniest screams of like the entire Batman robes gallery. It's so funny, I can't even replicate it. It's like I don't even know if the mic picked that up, but it was just funny. And also, the dumbbell goes flying with him. So imagine dumbbell just smacks some poor bastard hitting the freaking pavement.
Yeah. So
Everyone's
like,
like,
yes. As he falls out, you hear him scream, and he follow the dumbbell down, and it like slams into the ground, and then we're expecting to see fucking him like splatter next to it, but yeah, especially after the scream, yeah, if you hear him going out the window that you were talking about going out the window, where he goes up and like Batman's had grabbed him and stuff, and he's for some reason saved his life after fucking finding out where the bear bonds were.
I know, yeah, technically Batman wouldn't have killed the guy, Gravity would.
It's like I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't need to save you.
That's still killing me.
I'm not saving you. I'm not killing you. There's a distinct difference. I'm just not saving you.
My
I'm
friend's a
Batman.
lawyer.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman. So Gordon had the whole thing, the whole office bugged. So they were able to get the confession about where the bonds were, and they take him away. And that's when they're talking to Wormwood in his jail cell, and like the guy who he was going to meet, uh, basically confessed to being his conspirator. And Gordon's like, "Oh, by the way, something came for you, a package." So
That's
Wormwood,
like that. My one question about that though, like, are you allowed to receive packages if you're in jail?
I mean, presumably you inspect them, which is even funnier when you find out what's in the package.
And it's like, oh, it's only Batman's Cape and Cowl. So okay, it's not it's not the Bat Belt. So it's like, yeah, so you can't escape with all that shit. So yeah, why not just give it to him?
But theoretically, all he has to know is that it's Batman is the Batman symbol on the letter, which could be replicated by anyone.
So he gets the package and gives it to him, and it turns out to be the Cape and Cowl. Yeah, I just be like, ah, sucker.
Yeah, Batman's just completely petty with this guy. No, 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 no. Oh, dude. And you know what's funny? There's episodes later on, I'm not going to mention what they are, where Batman does stuff like this again. And it's just like, you have way too much time on your hand, Bruce. You're sending packages to people in jail, just like you're all about like I don't kill people. I let the justice system like, hopefully, send them to prison or like rehabilitate them. And yet you're also like kind of twisting the knife after you've stabbed them.
All right, so what would you give this episode out of five Cape and Cowls?
I am going to give it 2 out of 5 Cape and Cowls, and not the episode itself, but Wormwood Iguana Award, because he's as bland as they come. And I think that there's a lot of failed potential to this episode. The traps were kind of fun, and it was kind of a good kind of cat and mouse episode, but it also unravels the second that you give it, like 1 minute of thought.
Yeah, I think I'll give it 2 out of 5 Cape and Cowls as well. Yeah, because it should have been a Riddler episode, like a Riddler origin episode, or one of the first ones, or like a Harvey Dent before he turns Two Face episode, but with the Riddler, being like how bad he is, and he has to realize he has to become smarter to get him with his riddles, to be on par with Batman sort of thing. But yeah, it wasn't him, and yeah, it's just. But it was good to see. It's good to see have Gimli in the episode, though. Yeah, but yeah, 2 out of 5. I'm giving it.
Oh,
So
at
any
least
last
one out of those 2 points is purely John Reese Davies in this episode.
All right, so any last words on this episode?
Simon's gonna want to wash that Cape and Cowl when he gets it back. It's been to places he does not want to know about.
All
Uh,
right. All right,
Smells like
everybody.
man bat.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us in the Batcave this week to talk about Batman the Animated Series and Not the Riddler in the Cape and Cowl. Next week's episode will be another Robin episode with Robin's Reckonings parts 1 and 2. So join us next week for that, and you can follow us on Twitter/X at Beyond Backcast, on Instagram at Beyond the Backcast. And if we're on YouTube now, so you can join us there at youtube.com/ at Beyond the Backcast, or we do have a link tree now. So if you want to find out where you can find our links and stuff, link tree/ Beyond the Backcast, and find out where we are on there. And where can we find you on the internet, Radon?
You can find me on Instagram at Alfred is Zaddy. And
What
you
was
can
that?
also find me on the Facebook page Beyond the Backcast. And we also have a Discord available now.
Yeah, that was also on the invite for that is on the link tree as well. So if you can click on that, and you can follow me out as Stump Chunkman on Instagram. And as I said, thanks for joining us in the Batcave to talk about Batman the Animated Series at Beyond the Backcast. Goodbye, good chums. Kapow.